Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Let's Learn with Lissy. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating spy stories in your syllabus, The Midnight Visitor by Robert Arthur. At first glance, it looks like a simple thriller, but actually it teaches a very powerful lesson. Intelligence and presence of mind are stronger than physical strength. This chapter is extremely important for board exams because questions often come from character analysis, theme interpretation, irony and suspense, more values, and story elementing of the story. So, listen carefully. This explanation will help both understanding and scoring good marks. About the author, Robert Arthur was an American writer known especially for suspense, mystery, and detective fiction. What makes him so special? Unlike typical spy writers, he focuses more on psychology than action. His heroes win through intelligence, not violence. He often adds humor even in tense situations. The Midnight Visitor is a perfect example of this style. The story belongs to spy thriller genre, suspense fiction, short mystery narrative. But notice something interesting. There are no fights, no car crashes, no gun battles. Yet the suspense is intense. That shows how powerful psychological tension can be in storytelling. The story is set in a very gloomy French hotel, sixth or the top floor, late night environment which adds suspense and secrecy. This setting creates isolation, secrecy, and suspense. Writers often use dark, confined spaces in spy stories because they heighten the tension. For example, remember, setting contributes to the suspense of the story and builds tension among the readers. Now let's meet our characters. Ausable, secret agent but completely unconventional. He looks fat, ordinary, calm, and intelligent, resourceful person. Then we are having Fowler, the writer, who is a curious observer. Here, Fowler represents the perspective of the reader. So remember this concept very clearly. And finally, we are having Max, who is another spy, the rival spy actually. He's armed, he's confident, but mentally less sharper. Now let's focus on the beginning of the story. Fowler meets Ausable expecting excitement because he wants to ride a glamorous spy adventure, which includes danger, excitement, a heroic personality. But instead, he finds fat, slow, ordinary spy who has an American accent, which is of quite his disappointment. He feels disappointed and bored. This creates situational irony because he was expecting a spy to be someone like a French heroic person or who was having a very great physique. But instead of that, he found somebody quite opposite to his expectation. Now let's move on to the important report that Ausable was carrying. Ausable expects a secret report about missiles. It could be influential history. This is significant because it suggests international espionage. Stakes are high, danger is implied. Even without action, tension builds in the story. This is classic suspense writing. Along with Fowler, Oswald enters the room, and suddenly lights reveal a man with a pistol. That is Max. Now the story shifts from boredom to danger instantly. This sudden shift creates dramatic tension. Fowler finally experiences a real espionage, but not as he imagined. It's the turning point in the story. Max is described as a slender, fox like face, quiet but threatening. Symbolically, fox like features suggest that he is cunning, but ironically, he gets fooled later. That's another subtle irony in the story. Now observe carefully. This is the most important moment. Ausable does not panic. He sits very calmly, does not shout, does not fight. Instead, he talks casually. This shows extraordinary mental control. The presence of mind is the central theme of the story, which we are going to focus in the upcoming slides. Then comes the crucial moment. A knock is heard. Ausable immediately says it must be the police. Notice he uses the situation instantly. This is spontaneous intelligence. No pre planned script, just quick thinking. A psychological strategy is invented by Ausable. He invents a very detailed story. where there is a balcony outside the window, and previously an intruder used that balcony to come inside the room. Management failed to secure it. Why does Max believe it? Because confidence in speech, logical detail, and calm tone of Ausable makes it like it's a real balcony outside the window. So students remember, confidence makes lie believable. This is psychological manipulation once again. For this story, Max begins to panic, threatens Ausable. He moves towards the window, plans to escape via window. This shows even armed people lose control when they are afraid. Intelligence beat aggression. And coming to the climax, Max climbs out expecting safety, but there is no balcony. He falls. One screen, end of danger. This climax perfectly shows victory of intelligence over force. Twist ending. Door opens, everyone expects police. Instead, awaited with drinks. This sudden reversal creates humor, relief, surprise, classic twist ending technique. Ausable explains calmly. As a final revelation, there is no police, no balcony. The entire story was invented. This confirms true heroism is mental strength. So now let's focus on the major themes given in the story. So presence of mind is very important because quick thinking is used in danger. Appearances versus reality, which is talking about more than like expectation versus reality. When Fowler was expecting a conventional spy dude who would be suitable for a romantic story, but in contrary, he received somebody who was totally opposite to his expectation, who was Ausable, ordinary looking spy who proves his intelligence at the end of the story. Intelligence versus physical strength, or intelligence over strength. Here we can understand that ordinary looks can hide brilliance. Brain outperforms any kind of weapon. And finally, coming to reality versus romantic imagination. Real spies are not movie heroes. Always connect theme with the incidents in the answer. Now let's focus on the character analysis of the characters. So first comes Ausable. The physical traits of Ausable is very important in the story because it is connected to the theme, that is expectation versus reality, reality versus fantasy, or intelligence versus physical strength. Ausable is quite fat, ordinary, non-glamorous person, but mentally he is intelligent, calm under pressure, he is a quick thinker and excellent liar when needed. Moving on to another important character, Fowler, who is a writer seeking for adventure. He's having a romantic imagination, but when he meets Ausable, it's quite contrary. But at the end of the story, he learns the reality of espionage. He understands that real heroism is not glamorous. And please make a note of it that Fowler is the representative of reader's expectation. So he is present in the story as an observer. He is the perspective of the readers. And finally, Mac's character sketch is quite simple. He is a rival spy, he is armed and confident, he is easily fooled, he is impatient, and remember that he symbolizes overconfidence, impulsiveness, lack of mental agility. His downfall proves aggression without intelligence fails. Now let's focus on literary devices used in the story. The first one is suspense. The gun threat, the knock on the door, all these are creating suspense in the story. And moving on to the irony, which is the most important part in the story, is unheroic spy wins the story. It's the reality versus expectation versus reality concept. Then moving on to the humor of the story, the balcony trick creates an ultimate humor and a twist in the end of the story. Let's now focus on the title justification. The Midnight Visitor refers to Mac's unexpected arrival, the spy's conflict at night, and suspenseful turning point of the story. Title fits perfectly. The moral of the story is stay calm in crisis, intelligence is true strength, never judge by appearance, quick thinking prevents danger, excellent for value based questions. The common extracted areas are Ausable's description, balcony explanation, knock scene, and final revelation. While answering, explain context from the story, identify the themes, and mention character traits. The typical short questions can be asked are like, how is Ausable different? Why was Fowler disappointed? How did Max enter? What was the report about? Why did Max jump? Always try to answer in analytical perspective. Most asked long answer questions are the presence of mind shown by Ausable. So whenever you're getting question like this, please mention the points like calm behavior, balcony story, fake police, psychological trick, the appearance versus reality, how suspense is created. Always remember, follow a structure when you're writing a long answer question. Why? Because it needs an introduction part and then focus on the incident or the event or in the story, analyze it, and finally give your message. Don't exactly write the summary in the long answers because the examiner is not expecting you to write the summary. The Midnight Visitor basically teaches us the emotional intelligence. So, what lesson do we learn from Ausable? We learn the calmness, observation, confidence, and strategic thinking. Important life lessons are learned beyond the exam. From the story, students learned suspense building, character contrast, effective twist ending, psychological conflicts, useful for creative writing too. So, now let me give you some exam tips to score full marks. Avoid full retelling, that is, avoid writing the whole summary in the 6 mark question. Focus on analysis part. Mention themes very clearly. Add literary terms. Add some quotations related to the incident asked in the question briefly. Highlight themes very clearly and focus on the character analysis. Precision matters in your answer. And now moving on to the conclusion part. Students, remember that real heroes don't always look heroic. Intelligence wins over strength. Sometimes the quick thinker, the calm observer, the intelligent strategist is the strongest person in the room. And that is exactly what Ausable proves in The Midnight Visitor. So the story A Midnight Visitor is a perfect blend of suspense, humor, and wisdom. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video till the end. If you felt like this video was helpful, kindly hit the like, share, and subscribe button and see you soon in the next video.